Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to do some more explaining here. Today we're going to talk about the basics of winterizing an irrigation system. So let's start. Here, this valve, or this box, is our valve assembly. When you begin a winterization, they're going to have to find the shutoff valve. The shutoff valve will usually be in a round box like this near your valve assembly. What this is, there's a line coming from your house probably, or from the city, your water main line, and here there's a manual shutoff valve. That line supplies the water to your irrigation system. So we'll start off by turning it off. Now if the box is big enough where you can reach down and grab it, do it. If not, you can buy one of these cheap keys at an irrigation store or even Home Depot, and you can switch it off. Right now it's in line with the pipe. Now it is not. You can see that there. So that's off. Now the line has been charged, and so the line from after the shutoff valve to here, the line is still charged, and we need to release that, and we'll show you how to do that too. But while I've got you here, you're going to see, I'll just show you here, this is the valve box assembly. Here is these automatic valves. These are your zones also. So valve zone station, that's referring to each valve. Those are, they all mean the same thing in your system. So here we have two zones because we have two valves. After each valve, you're going to notice over here is we have an atmospheric vacuum breaker backflow preventer. This prevents potentially contaminated water if something breaks in your system out in your yard, and it doesn't allow contaminated water to get back into your main line and potentially into your house. These are after the valves, as you see. After, the water flow comes this way, and so these are never charged with water unless the zone is on. So actually you don't have to do anything to winterize these. If you have one of these other two called a pressure vacuum breaker or a reduced pressure backflow, which you'll see in the manual, you would have to winterize those by turning the ball valves to a 45-degree angle and the test port screws to a 45-degree angle to allow drainage. Now when you drain those, some water will come out for a little bit. That's what those are intended to do. But on this kit scenario, we're done right there. So we're all done on this part of the landscape. Now one thing before we go and do to relieve the pressure, on this drip zone, if you can, find the end cap. So it happens to be right here. This is the end of your drip line. Hold up a little bit. Sometimes these might be in a box itself. If it's downhill, you can screw this end cap off and see if any water will come out. See, this one does. We've got a bunch of water coming out. That's good to let that drain out a little bit. When it's done draining, you can put this cap back on. Cover it back up a little bit, but if you can, and if your drip line is downhill, it's good to relieve some of the water out of there by taking off your end caps. Now after you've done that near the valve box assembly and turned off the shutoff valve, the next step is to come back to your timer. Now we're going to go to manual 1 station, and here you can cycle through each of the zones that you have and turn them on. Obviously your system won't come on because your shutoff valve is now off, but what this does is it relieves pressure in the lines. So you go to this, select the station you want. We're going to station 1, and you turn the dial to run, and that'll turn on that zone. We're going to leave it on for a minute, let the pressure come out, and let that run out. You can cycle through each of your zones when you do this. When you're done doing that, the last step is to turn your timer to off. Now your irrigation system won't turn on at all, and that is the last step in winterizing your irrigation system. Thank you, and I hope this provides some helpful hints for winterizing your own.